The Deer Farming Channel is brought to you by Rafter P Construction. Stick around to learn more about Rafter P's design build process and, of course, the biggest deer in the world. Howdy everybody, I'm Keith Warren, and this week Deer and Wildlife Stories travels to Indiana, the Hoosier State. The white-tailed deer is America's favorite big game animal, and white-tailed deer farming is the fastest growing segment in the agriculture industry. Our program's mission is to dive into the world of deer farming and inform you of how deer farmers all over the country are now using rapidly developing science-based research on their captive deer herds to solve the chronic wasting disease issue through selective breeding. Not only is this new science working, but it's obvious that captive deer breeding is the only way to help save America's deer herds from CWD, which will help improve overall herd health and at the same time can produce more quality trophy-sized animals for the general public. Join me as we discover how whitetail genetics, deer auctions, animal husbandry, and so much more drive the modern-day deer farming industry. My name is Keith Warren, and this is Deer and Wildlife Stories. We'll start out just outside of Peru, Indiana at Russ Bellar's farm. This place is known as X Factor Whitetails.
I'm Russ Bellar from Peru, Indiana. I've been raising white-tailed deer for 32 years and I still love it. My goal here is to raise the biggest whitetail on earth if I can. I've had lots of 500s, a couple 600s, and I'm consistent every year having a 500-inch buck here on this farm.
I've known Russ for a long, long time, and I'm telling you something. The one thing about Bellar doesn't do anything unless it's big, really big. Every time I've ever come out here, I just see all these big deer and big plans, and Russ is always building something. So he told me this time, he says, I got something I've been working on. I can't wait to show you. So the first thing he did, he brought me inside where he manufactures his own feed. And let me tell you something, that was a big deal. So the process on making feed is quite labor intensive to say the least, and it's noisy. He's got a 8,000 square foot warehouse of this whole system of pipes and motors and mixers and grinders, and it's just amazing.
We started pelletizing our own feed. We can make about 3.5 tons an hour on these pellets and do a pretty good job. We've cut 80% of our cost out of buying feed. Well, we start out with, we got a grinding room over there that we grind the feed, and that goes back into some grain bins. Then we take it out of those grain bins and put them in a mixer. Then we put our minerals and all of our oil in it. Then we run it through a pellet machine. We run it through a cooling system. Then we come out of the cooling system and put them in these big boxes that we got doors at the bottom. We can have about 30 ton here on store at all time.
So I think all the work that goes into it, I mean, I feed Record Rack, and I have for 25 years. But somebody like Russ Bellar who makes his own feed, my hat's off to him. I respect him because this is a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of money has gone into doing this, and it's actually intimidating for me to come look at it and think he does all this process himself, and on the weekends, he does all this himself. Literally, he has no help. Russ is 77 years old, and look at him. I mean, he just hustles all the time from daylight to dark. He's putting in more time than most people a third of his age. And the benefit, I mean, take a look at the place. I mean, Russ mows the yard all by himself. Okay, these fields, look at the crops that he's growing. Look at the deer that he has. On this program, he is not trying to sell deer. We're not trying to promote semen sales. What we're trying to do is we're trying to showcase an individual that I think is a hero in our industry. He's a guy that is a great example for others to follow. Yeah, he's been successful growing some big deer, but Russ is an amazing human being, and he's a really good example, in my opinion, for deer farmers to follow.
I just want to show Keith and all the people that watches this show what I do here, and they're welcome to call me or come and see it. If you just need to know any more about X Factor Whitetails, just look us up on the internet, xfactorwhitetails.com.
Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by MVP Whitetails, Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics, UVC Power Sports Tractors and Outdoors, Rafter P Construction. For more videos on deer farming, check out the Deer Farming channel on YouTube. All right, so as we show you all this impressive stuff here at Bellar's place, he's got these cutoffs. We got cobwebs on them, but look at this. He says, it's just a deer. Everything that Russ Bellar does is incredible. It's big. I mean, look at these deer. And that's what really everybody wants to see. And we're going to be showing you a lot of big deer in a minute, but first we got to show you something really impressive. Wow. Looks like a hospital in here. How many do you plan on raising?
Well, we built it for 550 fawns.
550 fawns in this building right here?
Yeah.
You don't know how to do anything small, and that is the truth. That's the truth. Your deer are giant, and everything you do is giant. So what's going to go on in here?
Right here, we're going to have a big sink here, and this is where we're going to fill the bottles. We'll have a little thing, just open it up, shove them down. I mean,
okay, so show me the stalls, and folks, I'm going to tell you something. You know what he's going to be feeding them? Cow's milk. Yeah. All right, so
right here is where we're going to put the babies in here.
the newborns.
The newborns here.
Okay.
This plastic floor here is made for pigs. Baby pig has got a smaller foot than a deer. So all the droppings goes down through and all the pee goes down through. Mm-hmm. Then we got these tanks up here. We open them up and we can flush.
So all the pee and all the poop's gonna go out?
Go outside. It's gonna be flushed. Wow. Clear outside every day.
And this right here?
This here's a little creep feeder for them. We can take this off and wash it, clean it out.
Mm-hmm. I'll be dadgum. So these are where the newborns are gonna go. And then these bigger ones.
Then over here, when they get a month old, then we plan on putting them over here in a lot bigger area.
Bellar, you're unbelievable. You are unbelievable. This is amazing. When, I've been in a lot of fawn barns before, but I've never been in a fawn barn like this, never. If y'all are watching the show and you want to meet somebody that is an example of how you ought to work, Bellar's the guy. Yeah. And I appreciate you being my friend. All right, let's go look at some deer.
All right.
All right, if y'all think this is impressive and big, wait till you see these bucks. Not only did you do the feed facility himself and the farm facility himself, you grew these white-tailed deer yourself too. Okay?
True.
And I mean, it's like he grew these deer. So take a look at this. These deer are some of the biggest deer that you're gonna find anywhere. Okay, now, the one thing I'm noticing, these bucks, I mean, right now it's early August and we've got a few weeks for these deer to still grow, and you can tell that they're bulbed up. Oh, look at that guy right there. I mean, they're big, beautiful deer. But their antlers are really dark. I mean, the blood's flowing in them hard right now, which means that they're growing really, really good right now. I know that. And so they're far from being done. There's something you're doing with the feed to get that blood flowing in there, isn't there?
Well, I've studied dairy people, and dairy people learn me more than any deer farmer. It's the calcium in the blood makes it really black. Everybody else's deer is using calcium that's coming out of the bone instead of out of the blood. So I put stuff in it to make the calcium come back to the blood. Well, and they pump more blood. Well,
there's two bucks in here that are real standouts, okay? Real standouts. And that guy right there, I know most people look at him and think that it's gotta be a 3 or 4 or 5 year old deer. But knowing you and knowing the way you condition with your feed, that's gotta be only a 2-year-old buck.
2-year-old buck. About all the bucks in here is about 2-year-old.
Okay, so what about that deer right there? How old is he?
That deer there's a 3-year-old, and I bought that deer off of Jeff Berryhill from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jeff is a relatively new breeder.
Yeah, he is. He let me have that deer, and at a very decent price too.
That is a beautiful buck. So, do you do any AI out here?
I used to, I don't no more. I've got all these big bucks, and it's a lot cheaper to just let them natural breed.
And a lot easier.
A lot easier.
Yeah, you spend all your time, your labor making feed.
That's right, I got to. And mowing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're taking for vitamins, but I need some of that, because let me tell you something. When you look at this place, it is manicured, it's beautiful, okay? Whether it's the lodge inside, or whether it's a fawn facility, or the pens, or the ag fields out here. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And folks, if you want to get a hold of Russ Bellar, he's out of Peru, Indiana. Okay, you can look at xfactorwhitetails.com. He's got a nice website. Give him a call and come out here and see what he's done. Okay, like I said, he's not selling deer, he's not selling semen, he's not trying to sell you anything. What I'm trying to do is tell you that he is a hero to the deer industry. He is somebody that has reshaped the deer industry, and people that are trying to get to be number one, they need to look at that man right there. But after the break, we're going to head on down to the Indiana Deer Farmers Association annual picnic. We'll introduce you to some more deer farmers, and then we'll visit another farm just outside of Grayville, Indiana. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by Big Time Whitetails and Exotics, LE Fence, Record Rack Deer and Elk Feeds, UVC Power Sports Tractors and Outdoors, and by New Dart. Deer and Wildlife Stories will be right back. Closed captioning is brought to you by Advanced Deer Genetics. All right, so in a moment, we're going to stop over at Springfield Whitetails and show you some of Lester's big deer. But right now, we're at Annapolis, Indiana, at the Indiana Deer Farmers event, and there's a huge crowd of people from all over the country. So the reason everybody comes here is deer farming is like a big family, and although these people are all competitive against each other, and we're competing to grow the biggest deer that we can, but the thing is, we learn from each other. We help each other out. No matter who you are, no matter how long you've been in business, you're going to have some problems. You're going to have some issues that you need to bounce those ideas off of somebody that can maybe help you, and that's being done in this room.
Today we're here in Indiana supporting NIDFA as they raise funds to educate and protect their rights as deer farmers.
Just happy to be here to support my other deer farmers up here in the north.
And we're having a good time spending time with our friends from Indiana.
Phenomenal crowd, good turnout, enthusiastic people. Looks like it's going to be a heck of an event. Got a benefit auction coming up here shortly.
There'll be a lot of things sold at the fundraiser event here today between semen and deer and just all kinds of different things. And people can come from multiple states. They can come meet here at this event, make deals and partnerships back and forth. I drive 11 and a half hours here every year just to meet new customers and new clientele. Really cool event, and really something that you should try to look into if you can make the time to come. The summer picnic for Indiana is one of my favorites.
All right, that does it for the Indiana Deer Farmers event. If you want more information on this group, all you need to do is head on over to our website. We'll have a direct link over to their website. Next stop, Springfield Whitetails. All right, so we just left the Indiana event, and Chris has come with us over to Lester Eicher's place. This is Springfield Whitetails. Now, talk to anybody in the deer breeding business, they know Lester. Okay, Lester is an Amishman, otherwise we'd have him on camera. But Chris is here to tell us about his deer. Now, Lester's got a bunch of deer we're gonna have to go over here real quick on the show because we don't have a lot of time, because Lester is known for growing lots of giants. Okay, who's that one right there?
That's the League.
Oh, the League, we filmed him last year. He is now, how old is he?
He's 3,
Okay.
and he's a major league son.
I was gonna say, because I think we actually even filmed him as a yearling, but
Yeah.
the League is a great deer. And so the League is 3, but Lester bred him as a yearling, okay? And so the League has 2 yearling sons on the ground right now.
Yeah, here, those 2 right there.
Oh, whew. Look at that, so he's throwing real well. So there's another yearling in the pen, And he's right there, and his name is Black Canyon. A lot of people are talking about him. Who is that?
That's Cash Reserve.
Woo, how old is he?
He's 5.
Wow.
He's FedEx over free agent sister.
Now, he is a monster. All right, so who is that? Is that the Ace?
That's the Ace. He's a 3-year-old blackjack son.
Are these deer out here, Lester doesn't go out and buy deer, does he?
No, he builds them.
Yeah, so every one of these deer that we're showing you, I don't know, he hasn't brought a deer in here at all, has he?
No, you know, the foundation in this herd's really strong, so he just brings everything in through AI and artificially inseminates through his deer and creates new ones.
Well, he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, we've been coming to Lester's farm now, I think this is the 3rd, maybe the 4th year we've been here. And every year the deer just amaze me because they're so big. But I think the cool thing about Lester's deer now is partnerships, okay? And look at that smile. Okay. Tell everybody about these partnerships and why they're so valuable and why it makes such sense to people to become partners.
We've talked about it several times. Lester's been a partner of mine. We've been partnered on so many different deer over the last 10 years, bucks, does, just several different things. And it helps to, you know, you can promote the animal from multiple different levels, different people promoting it, breeding it, and just building the value in it.
So it'll happen, somebody will buy into a deer like the Ace or the League, whatever the in partners, and so they'll collect the semen on him. And then you get semen rights for Texas or Oklahoma or Florida or wherever you want to breed that deer, you can buy semen rights. So anything out of that, you're going to have something to do with it, okay? And you can get into the buck cheaper than you can if you were just going to go buy 100% of the deer. And so these partnerships are becoming more and more common, and it's not just in the whitetail business, but it's in the exotic business as well.
It is kind of stemmed from the horse breeding industry, shares and things of that nature, and we've kind of moved into that same world with the value of things these days.
All right, so we're out of time for this section of the show. After the break, we're going to pick it back up here at Springfield Whitetails. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by Record Rack Deer and Elk Feeds, the North American Deer Registry, New Dart, CC Bar Whitetails, and the North American Deer Farmers Association. Now some great information on fencing from our friends at LE Fence.
Morning guys, this is Ron with LE Fence. We're out here hanging some gates today in between these 2 pens that we just finished up yesterday. First we went ahead and kind of pre-assembled our hinges on the gates, got them where they typically are going to go, top, middle, bottom. We then held the gate next to the post, marked some holes on the pipe so we knew where to drill our pilot holes to put the hinges through the actual pipe. Then what we did from there is we went ahead and put one hinge upside down, coming down on the top, and then we went ahead and put the bolts on the other 2 hinges on the gate. So then when we're ready to hang this gate, we can just slide the 2 bottom hinges straight into the pilot holes that we made, and then the top hinge that's upside down, we just scoot the female end of that hinge up into the actual bolt. So now all they're doing is they're tightening up the bolts. Now the reason you might think this is a little bit weird, the gate hinges are not in line with the fence. This is because we want to be able to fold the gate all the way against the fence when you guys want to push some deer between the 2 pins so we don't have anything sticking out. So when this gate is shut, it's going to come all the way to the hinge post, and then when it's open, we can fold it all the way to the back, tie it off to the fence, and we can just leave it like that if you want to have 1 pin or 2 pins, just depends on what you want. That's about it, guys. Thanks.
All right, so who's that deer right there?
That's Federal Extension.
And he's what, a 2-year-old?
Yeah, he's 2.
Well, he's a whopper. He's good. Look at that. And these deer are super gentle, as you can see. All right, who's that one right there?
That's the Heat.
Okay, and we have filmed him in the past too, so that's good. You know, Lester's deer are healthy.
Yeah, big animals.
Yeah, they're big animals. When you take a look at these bucks, these deer are big and they're hardy and they survive. And that's the cool thing about it is if you become a partner with Lester, you can rest assured that he's going to do everything he can to keep that deer alive and to make sure that it's going to be worth your investment. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely.
Okay, so is that the Joker right there?
That's him.
and he's 3 now.
He's a beast, isn't he?
He is a beast, okay? And people all over the country are talking about the Joker. Now, the Joker, just like these other bucks, he was born right here. He was built right here. Lester has got it in his brain what he wants to do, and he deals with you and gets some advice from you and the other partners, and they build deer like that. And so the Joker, he's awesome. So that deer right there looks like a 2-year-old. Who is that?
That's Anchorman. He's going to be one of the hotter bucks of the year.
Holy smokes, okay. And Anchorman has got some super partners, including a really close friend of mine, and you've seen him on the show for years. Tell everybody about partners on Anchorman.
So Josh McCoy out of Louisiana, he bought half interest in Choice Buck off of Lester's farm last year at one of the sales. And obviously Anchorman was the choice off the farm. So he was an original partner, and since the words just got out over the last couple weeks here that Lester has this buck and what his breeding values and all that stuff is, Brad Hassick has joined the team, and I'm gonna try to beat the rest of the world to it maybe while I'm here.
And somebody in Oklahoma?
He'll be bred across the country, I'm pretty sure.
If y'all want more information on Springfield Whitetails, what you need to do is you can go to our website. We will have a direct link from our website to Lester's website. Get a hold of him, okay? Shoot him an email, check his website out. You're gonna see lots of great information. Give him a call. He'd love to hear from you. And if you wanna get a hold of Russ Bellar that we showed earlier on the show, all you need to do is just give him a call. My name's Keith Warren with Chris Azell, and I wanna thank y'all for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Okay, so you've got property and you're wanting to build. Maybe a barn dominium, maybe deer facilities, or maybe a badass lodge. Well, you've got to check out Rafter P Construction. Rafter P Construction is the leading design build contractor across the state of Texas. Specializing in quality farm and ranch design build projects, Rafter P Construction encourages their customers to be very hands-on, incorporating your input into every aspect of your project with their in-house design teams. The goal of Rafter P Construction is to be your builder for life. Rafter P Construction, they'll be with you every step of the way to build your dream project. All the while, keeping quality and customer satisfaction at the forefront.